No, that's right.
They didn't shut it down.
No, sir.
Look at that.
This is a non-stop party here. Wow.
This is the 901. They had a flash sale for tickets for $9.01.
Okay.
Tribute to their home area code. Sold 10,000 of those. Booster bought the rest of the tickets, made sure that all the faculty and staff had some comps to go.
That was smart,
man,
though. That was
it's going to be
smart.
bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, mercy.
College Game Day's first trip to Memphis and Beale Street. Hey, Beale Street, you ready for it?
Look at this.
Holy cow.
This is like Mardi Gras in Memphis.
Reminds me of the draft in Nashville.
Yeah.
A lot like that.
And they love being compared to Nashville here. Rich Davis, Desmond Howard, Kirk Herbstreit, and Lee Corso. Hey, you know, 50 years ago, you were here in Memphis.
Yeah.
You had a little moment where you waved the white towel in the game.
I was a coach at Louisville, and Memphis beat me 69-17. And then they beat me by 50 points. So I ran a towel and said, "We surrender, Spoon Murphy. I give up. Oh, man.
Long day. You scored 17, though.
Yeah, but
hey, he was 3-1 against Memphis all time.
That's saying nothing.
Say nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a great scene here.
it's no wonder these fans are excited to see SMU in town. Memphis has beaten SMU 5 times in a row by an average, by scoring an average of 50 points per game. No wonder they like these other guys here.
I mean,
go Tigers, go Tigers.
Early lane.
It's just one of these scenes where, next week we'll be in Tuscaloosa, traditional setup, but here, game day last week, we're in Brookings, South Dakota.
Right.
This week we're here in Memphis, man. It just reminds you what makes this sport so great. So many different levels. This is a big-time game, too, tonight on ABC.
Like, I'm looking forward to it. And being here is like, remember we went to Fargo and we were downtown?
Yeah, that's right.
This is very similar to that same feel, and the hospitality has just been through the roof, off the charts. Glad we're here in Memphis.
No doubt.
Giving them a 3-hour infomercial.
Yep.
Listen to them chanting. I mean, they're ready for us. I mean, they've got a really good team. This American Conference is growing in terms of its depth here. 4 of the top 5 teams in the country are off. Number 4 is playing Wofford, but there is an SEC East showdown.
Yeah, Florida and Georgia. We look forward to this game every single year. Looks like the defensive ends are back for Florida, which will be important. Georgia has to establish the run with DeAndre Swift. To me, it's about the playmakers on the edge. Can Georgia get some plays downfield? Because if not, Florida will be coming after them, playing a lot of man-to-man coverage and shortening the field.
Oregon against USC, I tell you, there hasn't been a more resilient team than the Trojans. Their starter, J.T. Daniels, he went out early, and then Keaton Slovis came in and played, and he was concussed, and Matt Fink came in. They started 3 different quarterbacks. Good thing the strength of their wideouts, because as a matter of fact, running backs were so weak that Amon-Ra St. Brown came in as a starter a week ago. They're going to go deep on the Dutch secondary today, I'm telling you.
Utah and Washington. This year, Utah is famous for its defense, but they're also doing well on offense. They're led by quarterback Tyler Huntley, who's nationally ranked in many categories. This is a big test and a big game for Utah. They got to have this one.
How about Michigan and Maryland? This is a Michigan team that right now, man, Coach, you said it last week. They're playing their best football, maybe turned their season around in the second half against Penn State, carried over into the game last week against Notre Dame. Defense has been dominating, attacking the line of scrimmage, and there's Mike Locksley. Don't think that this one's not a little personal for Mike Locksley because Josh Gaddis together last year. He's now the OC at Michigan. Of course, Mike Locksley, the head coach at Maryland, he wants to put it on Michigan if he can.
Virginia Tech against Notre Dame. I tell you what, like you said, Kirk, they were embarrassed a week ago in Ann Arbor, did not play their best game. They're going to come out on fire at home, but they're going up against a Virginia Tech team that has 3 wins in a row. These guys are on fire. Their last game, 6 overtimes against North Carolina, victorious again in that game. It's going to be a big challenge against Notre Dame.
Here's what you're waiting for, Beale Street. Brady White and the Tigers balanced offense. Kenneth Gainwell's the 7th leading rusher in the nation. I'll tell you, Xavier Jones, top 15 in rushing, 4th in rushing touchdowns. Memphis, I should say, has been vulnerable to the run. And Shane Buechele can spin the magic beam, but he might be without a big-time weapon for that explosive offense of Sonny Dykes. The SMU head coach is with Tom Rinaldi.
Coach, one of your most explosive playmakers, Robertson, your leading wide receiver. What can you tell us about his status for this one?
Well, he's not with us on the trip, so he's not going to play in this one. So wish we had him, but we don't, so next man's up.
How does that affect your game plan?
Well, he's a big play threat for sure, and so we've got some guys that we know will step up and pick up the slack for us. But it changes some things for us. But our guys will play well and will react the right way.
Undefeated, yet an underdog. I know you grind on one particular game, but how, if at all, do you use that as motivation for your guys?
Well, I mean, I think our guys are motivated. I mean, we're 8-0. We're playing for a conference championship. You know, or certainly to stay in the race for a conference championship. And so, you know, our guys are excited and motivated to play. And, you know, I think all that external stuff doesn't matter too much. I think there's enough internal motivation for us.
Appreciate the time, Coach. Good luck.
Okay, Tom, thanks for having me.
Tom, Sonny, thank you. Memphis Mike Norvell will join us a little bit later on in College Game Day. Here are the headlines. LSU, Alabama, Ohio State, all with a week off. Clemson playing Wofford. Penn State's also off. You see, we've had a run lately. Big favorites toppling. Where will it come today? And that showdown between Georgia and Florida almost certainly is going to decide the SEC East, and the winner will stay in the college football playoff race. Loser eliminated. A lot at stake in Pac-12 and the SEC, but the SEC at stake really seems to be the headline.
Yeah, RD, coming to the season, I had high hopes for Georgia. I actually thought that they were going to get to the SEC championship game. They still can. I mean, but they haven't played great. They played okay. Even the game they won against Notre Dame at home, I think Notre Dame walked away nationally with more respect than Georgia. Georgia has a great opportunity today. If they handle their business against the Florida Gators, people will start to look at them a little differently. We know that Fromm has struggled throwing the ball deep. They have a young receiving core, but if they go out there, coach, and handle their business today, I think that they can control their destiny.
Let's talk about a couple of highlights of the Memphis' offense.
Yeah.
That's great. Quarterback Brady White in his career has over 5,000 yards. And listen to this. Memphis is number one in the nation in plays over 40 yards. Number one. But this is my secret.
Giving it away in the first segment.
Yeah, Memphis is ranked 24th. In a 6-point favorite over number 15 SMU. Somebody knows something I don't know.
Somebody, when the somebody's knows something, usually go with the somebody. I'm with Des, man. This Florida-Georgia game is every year it's big. It's that 84% chance. Whoever wins today is going to Atlanta. That's what's at stake. Whoever loses is out. The game's out in the Pac-12. They don't get maybe the national notoriety. They should. Utah with one loss, coach's team. Huge game today. If they win today, they get to the Pac-12 championship with only one loss. And Oregon today, guys. Oregon and SC in the Coliseum. Oregon, much like Utah, trying to stay alive and hope that they can get through the Coliseum. Be a tough one today.
You know, there's a couple of tough road games for both of those teams that are trying to stay alive in the Pac-12. Ryan Day, the head coach at Ohio State, is going to join us later on in College Game Day. I know you guys noticed another thing that came up this week was the NCAA announcing that they were ready to allow players to capitalize monetarily on their name, image, and likeness. I just wonder, this is not a done deal. This is just the next move in the chess match. There's legislation on both the state and federal level. There are court cases to go on. There's no tangible outcome yet, so don't look at this as, hey, we're done. We're going to pay the players. We're not there yet. Long way to go.
A lot of lawsuits. A lot of lawsuits coming around.
Yeah, a lot of people with a lot of skin in the game in those, those suits, too. We've talked a lot about Georgia and Florida. We'll have plenty on that, including the most valuable football in the game. We'll explain that story and how it ties to Danny Werfel coming up. Michigan and Maryland. You'll hear from Mike Loxley and Josh Gaddis and what really started that little spat that might be evident today. I wouldn't expect Michigan to put on the brakes at any point in that game. NC State and Wake Forest will be watching for a noon kickoff on ESPN. Whether Jamie Newman of the Demon Deacons can go at quarterback, they're hoping he can. And UCF, what do you think about that? They still only have one loss in the America. This instrument ever created. Elvis Presley's voice. Amen. The best. He ain't never caught a rabbit. He ain't no friend of mine. I'll tell you, you know what? I don't care. He probably could catch a rabbit now, but David Pollock, a good friend, is here. What about this scene? You saw the dance-off earlier between the Tiger and the Pony there?
I gave it to the Tiger.
Tiger,
I think, had the win. I gave him the win. Yeah, the dance-off.
Could foreshadow what happens tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Between Memphis and FSU. This afternoon, an old rivalry is renewed in the state of Florida. Florida State and Miami, first time since 2011. Neither are ranked. Now both are just chasing bowl eligibility, the epitome of mediocrity, and both sitting there at 4-4. You know, for a generation, The Seminoles and the Hurricanes defined the rivalry. There was attitude, there was flavor, there was spice. But the taste of this rivalry now is like day-old cream of wheat. It's like a giant spoonful of gruel chased down with the backwash from the soda bottle. It's been sitting in your car for a week. As it is written, if you are neither hot nor cold but lukewarm, I will spew thee out of my mouth. And the revelation, according to Tom Rinaldi, is that Florida State and Miami ain't what it used to be.
Surely you remember Ward and Winston, Derek and Dion, Osceola and Renegade. Certainly you recall Edgerrin and Irvin, Bernie and McGahee, Warren and Wilfork, Knowles and Canes. That was then, and oof, this is now.
Another low snap. Florida State sloppy in the final seconds.
Was a time in Florida when owning the state was like conquering the country. Not at the minute. By standing, the Seminoles are 4th in their conference division. The Canes 5th in theirs, neither with a winning record. As they meet now, it's for pride more than prize. Every program goes through its cycles, each team through its valleys. And in the Sunshine State, the shade can only last so long. So it may be a dark time, but here's some lasting light. One will own this day at the expense of the other.
Since 2006, you see, this has really been a couple of programs that have been mostly mediocre. I know Florida State has a championship in there and a playoff appearance, but they've really slipped in the last couple of years as Willie Taggart's program tries to find its footing. Just the second year, just the first year for Manny Diaz. But you look at this now, and you could see a season going south depending on what happens today.
I think the season's kind of already gone south. But not to expectations of what they wanted, but I got a bear comment for you. You ready?
Yeah.
I got an over-under in this game. Over-under quarterbacks played in this game. I'll go 3.5.
Okay. Take the over on
I mean, both these teams playing
over for sure.
4 quarterbacks, trying to figure out what their identity is. It's just, it's definitely not pretty times.
How did we get here?
It's frustrating.
How did we get here? With these programs. How did it get to this
Slipping offensive line recruiting at Florida State.
Yeah.
And really just slipping overall recruiting
And I think Alabama
yeah.
and Michigan and Ohio, other schools coming in to South Florida. Miami, think about the hires they made since the glory years back in 01, 02. They hired Larry Coker, Randy Shannon. Then they had off-the-field issues. They brought in Al Golden, who kind of inherited that mess. And then Mark Richt came in. Now we're at Manny Diaz in the first year. I mean, it's been a long time since this thing has been going in the right direction with recruiting.
Yeah, neither team has been able to hit on the quarterback. You know, you think about the special players they've had, like Primetime, Deion Sanders up in Tallahassee, and Charlie Ward. I mean, but listen, I live in Miami, and the fan bases, this is like a bowl game for them. They're still excited about this.
Today?
I think today, well, it seems like Florida State's going to start, like you talked about the quarterbacks, I guess Alex Hornibrook, which in my opinion, I wouldn't do that simply because Miami's going to come after him. I mean, he's like a statue back there. He's not very mobile. They're going to put a lot of pressure on Hornibrook. I think that Miami may go up to Tallahassee and get this game. But they're going to start Jaron Williams, who's just as immobile as Hornibrook is.
You know, you said one thing, either team had hit on a quarterback. Both teams going to get their quarterback hit. Without a shadow of a doubt in the country and giving up sacks.
But Florida State has gotten a little bit better recently in protecting. And here's to me, Florida State wins this game because they got the 2 best players, offensively and defensively. I mean,
Cam Akers is a guy. He's
good. Mark Wilson on the defensive line is an animal. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the country. I think Florida State will win this.
Come down to the field goal.
Bear, you're a Miami guy. What's this like for you to watch Miami and Florida State?
That's a good question. We got a Miami guy up here on set. I forgot about that.
It's hard. It's hard to watch. It's hard to imagine. But you go back and you try to think about this. Miami in the 80s. They're always going to be good. Kind of like you say, Clemson or Alabama. They're always going to be good. Things happen, like you mentioned the off-the-field issues. But by the way, I'm going to give you another yes/no prop. By the way, to follow up on Pollock's comment, yes/no prop. Will there be a non-offensive touchdown scored in the game? Yes, probably minus 250. You would think.
It'll be a significant special team to play today too.
Between those offensive lines, that quarterback playing non-offensive touchdown, yes.
For sure.
I think that's a lock there. All right.
Bear.
What does that sign say?
corporate needs you to find the difference between the pictures. See the grizzly and the bear.
Oh, wow. Clever.
I'm a teddy bear. I'm not a grizzly bear.
You're a teddy bear
teddy
until
bear.
about 11 o'clock, and then you're a grizzly bear. You're a grizzly bear. You don't get sleep. Shut it down. Bear gets hostile.
How about middle seat situation, row 22?
Yeah. If you ever see Bear on a flight, don't touch his chair.
Don't
Or you may
even
get an elbow.
think about grabbing the back of my seat.
I've heard about it.
Don't
Grab
touch
the back of the seat
to get up. Yeah.
You do this to get up. You don't need to do that. Just do this. You got to arm your chair
Bear,
right there.
what do you do?
Airplane etiquette right
If they
there.
grab your seat to get up, what do you do?
You get the glare and a little mumble under the breath. Don't do that.
Who's going to stand up? Who's going to sit down? Who's going to get out of their chair and represent the ACC Coastal?
Nobody.
We don't know, but I think
Virginia and North Carolina will play today. North Carolina's 4-4. Hey, you know what? They're tied for the lead in the Coastal.
Yep, at least tied for the lead. It's like the world's fastest elephant. You got Virginia versus UNC, and I tell you what, this offense has been giving the ball away a lot of turnovers, putting the ball on the ground. The offensive line has not protected Bryce Perkins. They don't run the football as well as you'd like to see. And how about last week? UNC's defense intercepting the old pop pass right at the goal line, running the football really well. Mac Brown got the wins for UNC history last week, the winningest coach in North Carolina football history.
How about NC State in Wake? Game time decision for Jamie Newman, that left shoulder. They looks like they're going to try to see if he can go. If he can't, Sam Hartman, who got a win against Florida State, will go. No matter what, just throw it to Sage Surratt when in doubt. NC State down to their third quarterback. Devin Leary is going to make his first career start. We'll see how he can do. It's been a tough year in Raleigh with the injuries. They're just trying to survive.
All right, that comes up at noon. Kickoff just 2.5 hours away, so you got 2.5 hours to change your mind. Who you got this week in the ACC Coastal?
Again, just to keep track, I had Miami early, loss. Went to Virginia, loss.
Right.
Then I said UNC and Mac Brown's the story, lost. Last week I went back to Virginia, lost to Louisville. I honestly, tell me who's going to win the Coastal.
I don't know.
Coastal?
Yeah.
Let's just stick with today.
UNC?
I'm going UNC.
Virginia's got
That
the
means
best
they'll
shot.
lose. Whoever I say is going to lose. Who do you want me to say?
Go back to UVA. I like
UVA?
their front.
Okay.
Defensive
Mac,
front's
congrats.
pretty good.
You
They
gotta
lost
win
to
today.
Louisville, but they played well. Yeah.
Look at all of these teams with everybody in the division has 2 or 3 conference losses.
You know what's
It's
sad?
amazing parity.
What's
It's amazing
No one
parity.
wants to play Clemson.
Well, I was going to say, what's sad is after all this fighting, whoever survives at the end has to go to Charlotte to
Right.
play Clemson.
That's what I'm saying. No one wants to play Clemson.
Yeah, that's their reward.
I
Yeah,
know this is
I
a little
get it.
bit. I know it's a little bit snarky, but the real winner in the Coastal is going to be whoever finishes second. It doesn't have to do that.
Good point.
Go take care of it.
Great point.
Sports Center's coming up at the end of the night, and after Memphis SMUs, who Brady White's able to do. Also, Michael Eaves and Zubin Mahente will have UFC 244 Masvidal Diaz post-fight coverage. Herbie will be there. Biggest Week 10 takeaways. Sports Center coming up after boxing on ESPN and the ESPN app. Man, on Beale Street, this is one of the great destinations in America. You get a vibe, it's like a Bourbon Street, Vegas kind of vibe sometimes. Happens on Beale Street, stays on Beale Street.
Oh, yeah, that's behind the set.
Checking in section 0 here, sharing a Coke with Javon Bass. Javon's a freshman in the Memphis marching band. He plays trombone. Welcoming him here to College Game Day. Hey, you know, Javon, what a great story he is. He and his sister Michaela, both patients, the St. Jude Children's